It looks like a skill set that I will use forever that is going to allow me to make more money over my lifetime. Woo, child. This episode might ruffle a few feathers, but I don't care. As long as I am making impact and I'm serving you guys at the highest level, that's all that matters to me. All right, you guys. So today's episode is really about money. It's about the biggest stumbling block that a lot of nurses and nurse practitioners and everyone else, but I'm talking to y'all because most of y'all nurses and nurse practitioners that we face. And I really want to, on this short episode of Dr. Jones' Nursepreneur Mindset Shift, I want to talk to you guys about money and how we need to package it in order to be successful on this entrepreneur journey. So before we get started, you guys, you know, my name is Dr. Kiana Jones. I am owner and founder of Lux Beauty and Wellness Boutique, as well as Lux Beauty Academy. I started a 7-figure online digital empire by mistake, and a multi-6-figure wellness and aesthetic practice. That was intentional, but y'all, it was a struggle, I ain't gonna lie. And I was just sitting here, you know, as we were recording, and I was just kind of thinking about money and the people who make the investment versus those who don't. And what I often hear when I'm on these coaching calls and just the differences, okay? Because I don't know if you guys know, but I have different tiers for my offers, and I have a lower tier, and I actually started this lower tier because I was like, I don't want people to have a reason not to do it. So a lot of times the objections that I received was, oh, I don't have the money. And so when people said that they didn't have the money, I was like, okay, well, people don't have the money, then I'm going to create an offer that's lower so they can do it. And I want to tell you guys what I found out shortly. So I had the lower offer, which is not a lot of money. I mean, it's not a lot compared to my other offers. I have a mid offer, which is kind of mid. Most people go there. And then I have a high ticket offer. Now, this is a premium offer. This is a multi-5-figure offer. And here's what I find. The people who are willing to make the multi-5-figure offer are the ones who show up, the ones who execute, and 100% of my multi-5-figure clients launch their practice. 100% of them. Versus the middle tier, about 60% of them launch their practice, which is decent, by the way. It's good. Then we get to the lower ticket, maybe 20 to 30%. And I want to tell you guys something. You ready? It's exactly the same course. Now, the difference is my higher ticket, they get live one-to-one coaching, but the fundamental principles, the curriculum that guides us is the exact same at every tier. So there's an on-demand course. The on-demand course, everyone gets access to. And even my high ticket, they have to complete the on-demand course before we do the one-to-one. I don't want to spend time talking about corporations and which structure you need and all that. You can go and get that. I want to build out your practice. So with my high ticket multi-5-figure clients, they still have to complete the on-demand course, and then we build their practice from there. Now remember, they get the one-to-one, which is valuable, don't get me wrong. The mid-ticket, they get the same course. And when I say the same, I mean the exact same course. They get the same course, except they get group coaching. So that business model is it's group coaching. We meet twice a month. And you know, it's still a great program. I get a lot of nurses and nurse practitioners launched from that program. It's mid. And then we have the on-demand. The on-demand is the lowest ticket, the exact same course. And we have less people who launch. Now, I've talked to the people in the lower ticket, and you know what they said? When they purchased the course, they were like, okay, I got the course, so I got time. And they sat on it. Once they purchased the course, they were like, okay, I have it, so I can start it when I get ready. But the truth of the matter is, it wasn't enough investment for a lot of them. They didn't feel the sting And so they were just like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Life starts happening. And then they're just like, oh, okay, I have it. I even talked to a client who had purchased that course 2 years ago. And she was like, I purchased it. It's so good. But she had not launched her business. Now, I've also ran into clients who did launch their business with the on-demand, by the way. I was out at an event and a client, she came up to me and she had purchased the on-demand course. And she was like, I launched my practice. Here's my landing page. Here's my Instagram. I followed everything. But those people are far and few because they don't need hand-holding. They're executors. Now, there's just some people by nature who are executors. And those people who did launch, that 30 to 40% of those who do launch, they are executors. But most of us are not, and myself included. I need a coach all the time. You guys will hear me say on this episode, I'm never without a coach because I need somebody to watch my blind spots. I need somebody to be in my ear and say, like, Kiana, you need to do that, right? But my point is, the information is still the same at its core, which is the on-demand course, but the investment that is different breeds a different mindset. And it's true. When I made $50K investment in a coaching program, you best believe I was on every single call. I did everything my mentor said for sure. When I invested in a $25K program, I did everything my mentor said. I showed up on every call. Absolutely. Because I made high investments, but I also made investments on $497 investment, $197 investment, $97 investment, and I just showed up differently. Just by virtue of the amount we invest, it switches something in our minds. And what I find is that it's how we look at money. Money is a tool, and I cannot stress this enough. It is a tool. It is energy, but it is a tool. And it is something that we leverage. And so I always tell people, I will throw money at something in a minute. If it can solve a problem that I know is going to lead to more revenue in my business, more happiness in my life, health, me being a healthier person, me potentially being able to live longer, I'm going to throw some money at that thing easily. Because I know what the outcome, I know that I value that. So because of that, I am going to pay. Other than that, I have to go through the hard part. And I don't want to do that if I don't necessarily have to. Some things you will have to go through and navigate on your own, right? But there are other things that you won't have to. There are people out here who have made the mistakes, who have done the thing. Why in the world would you want to go through that if you don't have to? So when I was speaking at this conference in Tampa, Nurses Making Money Moves, I talked to them about a coaching program that I'm a part of. It's a $25,000 coaching program. And I joined this coaching program because I realized one of my huge bottlenecks in my business is that I don't have a selling system. And I ain't going to even talk to you guys about how much money I lost when I hired an agency to create my sales system. Anyway. So I said, this is one of those things I can't throw money at. I have to learn how to sell. I have to learn how to sell, have to create a framework. And even if for nothing else, then to have this skill set and teach it to someone else who is on my team, or teach it to someone else who I bring in my business, this is something that I need to invest in. But I did not look at that $25,000 as, oh, it cost me $25,000. No. This was a $25,000 investment that I was making. Now, what do we know about an investment? An investment appreciates over time. It appreciates. It doesn't depreciate. I mean, if we're looking at the stock market, it can go up and down, but over time, it appreciates. So what does appreciation in a $25,000 sales coaching program look like for me? Well, first of all, it looks like in my practice, when I create my packages, when I'm upselling to my patients, more money. In addition to that, for my coaching program, when I am creating these offers or I'm on sales calls with clients, it looks like an increase in closure rate, meaning I get more clients. It looks like a skill set that I will use forever that is going to allow me to make more money over my lifetime. So when I package it like that, does $25,000 seem like a lot? No. If I have a $25,000 offer already, if I can close one client per month at $25,000, does that $25,000 that I invested in that program, am I going to not make the investment because I am thinking about the initial sting of that 25K? Or am I going to focus on the long term of what that one investment can do over my business, over my life? That is the problem with a lot of nurses when it comes to money. We are so focused on losing money that we are missing the opportunity to learn a skill or to be mentored by someone so that we can have a greater value, meaning our business value, our personal value. I mean, once I master this skill, I can teach it. It can become something that I even teach. So you have to understand that your goal should be to get rich as fast as possible. As quickly as possible, please, expeditiously. And in order to collapse time, a lot of times that means that you have to bring on a mentor or a coach who already has done it. I will tell you, most mentors and coaches are not cheap. And I will tell you also, if you're me, for example, every time I go to a launch, every time I get a DM, Dr. Jones, I have launched, every time I have clients who are using this framework and launching their practice and generating their first 6 figures in 6 months, generating their first 6 figures in 1 year, or on their 3rd year of their practice, and now they've generated $500,000 this year. Every time that happens, my value goes up. Now, think about how appreciation works. Every time I am navigating this, even though I've been doing this now since 2020, 2021, when I launched my coaching practice, as I am navigating this and I am growing, I am becoming better. But I made some serious investments in myself, you guys, for me to be able to navigate this landscape. And I'm not just talking about going and paying in student loans for all these degrees. I'm talking about personal development for coaches. And I look at money differently. You guys, a lot of the times, are stressing over something that is not even real. Imagine that. You have made a decision to limit yourself, or you have allowed money, or the lack thereof, to be a limiting factor for the future that you want for yourself. Many of you guys are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast on YouTube. You know you want more. But the minute you start to actually step out, you stop you. Does that make sense? A lot of you are like, I just don't have time. I don't see what. Well, then pay somebody to collapse time for you. Pay somebody who has the framework who can get you there a lot faster. My clients launch in 3 months. Why do they launch in 3 months? Because I have the resources, I have the framework, and I eliminate the noise in my program. I know there's a million things you could focus on, but I don't have you focusing on the million things. I have you focusing on the 10 things that you need to focus on, and everything else will fall into place. So when we look at money as a way to collapse time, as a way to start generating revenue as quickly as possible, when we reframe what money looks like, you guys, that's when we are able to achieve the life that we want. And I think a lot of people don't realize that because we just are such hard workers, right? We work so hard. But I dare you to think about, if you could make an investment of $10,000 and even, let's say, in a program, I don't know what it is you guys want to do. I'm not pitching my program, but you can join my program, or you can do our IV hydration if you're interested. Shameless plug, but that's not what I'm really trying to talk to you guys about. What I'm really saying is, if you had $10,000 to invest, and let's say 6 months, let's say a year, you made the investment of $10,000, but after a year, you only brought in $20,000. I want to know, is that a win? Is it? It absolutely is a win. And I'm saying there's no reason that you should make a $10,000 investment and only bring in $20,000 in a year. But if it were to happen, that is still a win. You've made an investment and you've doubled your investment. If the second year you only made $50,000, you already recouped that $10,000 that you invested. We have to repackage what money is to us and what it is used for. We have to be willing to sacrifice short-term gain for long-term success. So yes, you have to step back if you make an investment, but that stepping back is so that you can move forward. And the only way to really do that is to really look at money differently. We always want to do the fast thing. We always want to do the things that's going to give us the immediate gratification. I cannot tell you, this is probably in 2021, and I'm going to tell you the price of my program at the time. It was a group coaching program. It was only $24.97. No, I'm sorry, it was $19.97. And I cannot tell you how many times I would talk to nurses and they'd be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And I'm thinking, boo, you got literally a $7,000 Chanel bag on your Instagram that you drive us such and such. Like, but you're telling me $1,900? You spend that on shoes. It's because we don't value it. We don't value it. And so we have conditioned ourselves to believe that immediate gratification, that compliment on our bag, or that vacation, which don't get me wrong, no shade on vacations because I love them too. But if we say we want more though, what are we doing that is yielding returns? What are we investing? Okay. I'm not saying don't live because you got to live. We don't know, what can happen in life. But how do you balance that out? Now, we all have to make sacrifices. When you are really willing to sacrifice your old life for your new life that you say you want, that's when you'll start to make the change. Money is a tool to be leveraged. And if you focus on lack of money, then you'll have more lack of money. But if you understand that when you are making investments that it is going to grow and you focus on making it grow, whether that's investing in a coach, whether that's investing in stocks, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It is all in your hands, but first you have to realize how to package and your mindset, your frame of what money is. And you have to rethink that. You could never be paid enough for an hour of your life that you can never get back. Let's just be clear. I don't care if you make $100 an hour. I don't care if you make $150 an hour. I don't care if you make $200 an hour. You have exchanged 60 minutes that will never come back to you. That is not an even exchange. You are being paid X amount of dollars with the possibility of a 3 to 4% pay raise every year, if you're lucky. Inflation is 10 to 12% per year. You're fighting a losing game if you don't repackage your mindset when it comes to money. So I hope this episode has inspired. I feel like my episodes be so deep, but you guys, it is my goal to serve you guys, but we really have to start realizing how we're thinking about money and how it is actually it's limiting us and it's stagnating our growth. You should not be stagnant. Your goal should be to continue to grow as long as you are on this earth. And if that is true, and if we live in a capitalistic society, then we know we're going to have to use our capital in order to grow. Successful entrepreneurs take risks, you guys. They're calculated, but they are risks. If you are really, truly serious about being a successful entrepreneur and that is your journey, you will be no exception. You are going to have to be willing to take risks. Repackage what money is, understand that it is a tool, and use your job to fund your future. Until next time, you guys, don't forget, leave us a review if you like our episodes. I don't know if you're watching it on YouTube. You can leave it in the comments. But if you are listening on podcast stations, go ahead and leave us a review, you guys. That helps rank us higher. Don't gatekeep. Make sure you share this with someone who you feel could be inspired by this. Maybe you had a conversation with somebody and you were like, oh my gosh, she's talking about that on that episode. Share it with them, you guys. Also, be sure to download. Until next time, you guys, take care.